I didn't believe we would ever see the day. But indeed, the first ever unique champion for Wild Rift has arrived. And of course, the inevitable immediately happened. The League PC audience now wants to see that champion in League PC. And there is a really good reason why. You see, just like it happened with a lot of the other exclusive skins in Wild Rift, the League PC audience is not just jealous that Wild Rift has something that they don't, which, to be fair, the vast majority of the audience is jealous. But more than that, the complaining is not about what game has something good or bad. It is more about Wild Rift doing something League PC would like to see too. The prime example of this could be Star Guardian Seraphine. This skin was pretty good, with the point being that it is Star Guardian Seraphine. Of course, it eventually had to be ported over. It doesn't matter how good or bad it is. The Star Guardian fandom is strong. Well, now a similar thing happened with Wild Rift, and they managed to introduce a whole new ability mechanic that neither Wild Rift nor League PC had seen before. Just like how you've also totally never seen this sponsor before. We are all just strings of code on this predetermined planet. Which is why it would be a good idea to understand the code. And you can do just that with the help of boot.dev. This video is sponsored by boot.dev. Have you ever wanted to learn a new skill that actually has a chance to alter your future? Well, with the help of boot.dev, you too can learn backend development in the easiest way imaginable. Not only can you too grasp the power of C, Java, or the mighty Python, but the entire learning process is fed to you like an RPG adventure. No more sitting in classes, no more reading books. Instead, you fix code by applying damage, killing monsters, leveling up, and gathering loot. Not to mention, you too can get into the bi-monthly boss fight where you can join forces with the entire community. And while you're doing that, don't forget that you are slowly getting into backend development, which is still among the highest paying jobs in the industry. So go out there, acquire new skills, dominate the code-ridden planet we call Earth, and use my promo code Necrit to get 25% off your first purchase if you choose the annual plan. I recently used my skills to update the visual side of my conversation system in the game I'm working on. Now back to the video. So, the new champion that is heading into Wild Rift is indeed Nora. And while we've known about her becoming the first unique champion for Wild Rift, which is technically called First to Wild Rift Champion, because yes, she can arrive in League later, up until this point, we've never seen her abilities. We only got the overall vibe check, where we also learned that yes, Nora is pretty much a Grandma Yordle, and yes, for a Yordle to be a Grandma, she has to be old. She and Clad might like to have a talk together. But more importantly, the first time Nora actually appeared physically somewhere was in Legends of Runeterra. That's where her first design was actually revealed, and so Wild Rift simply borrowed that one. So the design aspect was kinda skipped. But that is actually good. Because not only did they now follow the canonical visual of Nora, but also they built upon it. And so as you'll see, everything around Nora is reflecting exactly what you would expect. And so, let's go through the abilities. Her passive is nothing too crazy, but it is very important. You'll see that she does have a new bar under her mana, and after the bar fills up, her next ability will be empowered. You will also see that a special indicator for the charging up is her hat. Her hat will start to glow when she's ready to unleash chaos. And the chaos comes in the form of her spawning items around her target after casting her next ability. Which is very thematic. For Nora, having a lot of items makes sense. She was always surrounded by books and origami, talking socks, you name it. Now, if the enemy walks over these items will deal damage to you. That's kinda it for now. So next we have to talk about her Q. Well, okay, it's Wild Rift, so it's technically her first ability. So her first ability is a charged shot. More specifically, a skill shot, because as you'll see, skill shot is kinda the theme of Nora. When you tap it, you release a ball that deals damage, and if you have your passive ready, it also spawns the items around. But you can also hold the ability to charge it, and when it is charged, it deals more damage, and it shoots Nora backwards. This is really cool because it means you can't use the ability for quick movement, you actually have to charge it up, and it also gives Nora a safety mechanic. Because overall, Nora is still supposed to be an immovable artillery mage, kinda like Xerath. You can also see that while the ability is charged up, it also does have an indicator for showing you where Nora will be shot. And yes, Nora can also move while charging this ability, although very slowly. Again, this is important because her movement is supposed to be limited. Now, another important part to this ability specifically is that when items are already spawned on the ground, if you hit someone with the charged version of this ability, it will suck the item into the target, dealing the damage. This means that while this ability can be used for poking, more than that, it is a really good burst if it is used later. From the balancing point of view, this is brilliant because this ability is really good for poking, but optimally, you don't want to poke with it. What you actually want to do is use another ability to spawn the items and then use the first ability to suck it all in. And so, let's have a look at what other ability it can be combined with. So her W, or her second ability, is another skill shot that is targeting the ground. And when you hit an enemy with it, you will banish them into the spirit realm. You see, because it is Nora, of course what is really happening is that you are sending the enemy into Bandle City. That's pretty cool, because Nora's entire story is that she got lost through a portal, so she's now using portals for her abilities. It's brilliant! Anyway, you'll see that Nora essentially summons her own Mitnaraknun, which yes, that is a Mordekaiser reference. And that is because you will technically banish the enemy inside the spirit realm, but they can still move around. And just like it works for Mordekaiser, you will see a little indicator that shows you where the enemy is. And so in Nora's case, not only is this very thematic for her, but it is also an ability that stalls time and lets you set up a combo. A combo that can be definitely set up with her E, or her third ability. Now this ability has a very special passive part, as well as an active part. The passive part of this ability is that the items that spawn from your normal passive will now not only deal damage to the enemy, but it will also slow them and it will make them bigger. Which is where you might be asking, why? Is it so important to see the enemy faster or something like that? Well, the truth is that the size is more relevant towards their hitbox. That's right! Nora's very unique ability is that she can increase the hitbox of the enemy. Now, not only can you combine this with the fact that Nora is an artillery mage that only has skill shots, so it's gonna be easier for you to hit all your other abilities, but also this works for the entire team. Meaning that if you have a lot of champions with skill shots on your team, Nora is the perfect support for it. Not to mention, because Nora is a Yordle, the size is a totally reference to Lulu. Now, the truth is that while this isn't really a broken ability or even a meta-defining ability, it is definitely something that is fun to see in action. And again, it is a brilliant piece of design. But remember, that is still only the passive part of her E. The active part is essentially Malzahar's E, where you summon a horizontal line across the target. But in Nora's case, it simply does what the passive does. Meaning, if she hits the enemy, she will slow them and make them bigger. Since this also procs her passive that spawns the items around, if you hit someone with your third ability first, your first ability is gonna be set up for some big damage. Not to mention, it's gonna be a lot easier to hit as well. But this is then followed by her ultimate ability, which, knowing Nora now, is just pure chaos. What she does is that she spawns an area, which, even though it looks like an area, you can actually run out of it. And inside this area, she can summon balls of yarn to run over the enemy. These balls will go from a wall to wall. Of course, they hop in through portals because, you know, Nora and portals, it's kinda a theme. And yes, the balls are also skill shots, because skill shots are the theme for Nora. But the way you summon these balls is amazing as well. You see, because this is a first Wild Rift champion, it was obvious that the team wanted to do something cool with the touchscreen. And so, the way you use this ability is that you play Fruit Ninja. You just slash across the screen and you're summoning balls. That sounds fun. Now, these balls of yarn deal more damage the longer they roll, meaning that there is some skill involved. You don't want to summon the ball that is closest to the wall. No, you want to go for the other side. Also, when you cast the ultimate, it will also automatically spawn some items around, so the enemy now has to dodge the items as well as the balls. But what you might have missed is that because Nora is an artillery mage, she can summon this area from really far away. In League PC, it was almost be considered one of the global ultimates. So gameplay-wise, it is almost as if Gangplank was able to control what he shot with his ultimate. And that is what really puts the bow on a really well-designed champion that is all about skill shots, that supports skill shot comps, and which, quite frankly, is just fun to see. Again, we've gone through the voice lines before, we know what Nora is like. She's amazing! And now this resulted in one thing. Everyone kinda wanting Nora in League PC. I've seen the comments talking about Jin combining his ultimate with Nora, making the ultimate dodgeball. But yes, overall it seems like this is gonna be a really good first Wild Rift champion. And the question now becomes, when will Nora arrive in League PC? Well, the answer is later than you think. I mean, look at the pattern. Nora first arrived in Legends of Runeterra, then she arrived in Wild Rift, meaning that her final destination is gonna be a League PC. And so, to complete the pattern, one more thing needs to happen. Nora needs to be in 2xKO before League PC.